Alright, so today I'm going to do a review, and it's been a little while that I've reviewed something I've watched, but today's actually going to be a review of a game I've played. Considering Ontario is in another lockdown for a foreseeable future, there's really not much else to do but watch things, play video games, do anything that keeps you occupied inside your house. So I went out and I bought Cyberpunk 2077, or should I say CyberJUNK? Because that's what it is. So I spent, I think, a little over 80 bucks for the game. Cool, whatever. This hard copy case. Then 2 world guides that I never looked at. And then it gave me this huge map of the world of Night City is where the game takes place. I'm not even gonna open it, I don't care. Who cares? I spent over 80 bucks to get all of this stuff rather than actually getting compelling gameplay and content. You know, I took a risk. Sometimes hype kills things. Sometimes when things are too big and people are way too excited, the hype doesn't live up to what we're all expecting. And I think CyberJUNK is exactly what happened here. After 8 years of making this game, 8 years of production, the game is madly glitchy. Some of the things that happen in this game I just don't understand. I've seen so many wild things that I should never have seen in a AAA game and a game of Cyberpunk's caliber. The story is stale because it does not have enough characters driving you towards your main goal. Yeah, Keanu Reeves in the game, that's pretty cool. And honestly, who doesn't like Keanu Reeves? But even with Keanu Reeves being a main character, it's still not enough to make you say, like, Keanu Reeves and nothing else. The story could be garbage, all I need is Keanu. It's still not enough to say that. The gameplay is still the same run and gun. They try and make it seem like it can be so much more than that. You can craft items that, you know, make you more stealthy. You can get weapons that make you more stealthy. You can get weapons and augmentations that make you more of a melee combatant. You can use more of an assault rifle or sniper rifle type feel, so you're constantly attacking from range than up close. And really, at the end of the day, it just does not matter how you choose to play the game because the NPCs are so stupid. They're just so dumb. There's no strategy to the game. Not the way they wanted the game to feel, at least. They wanted you to feel like certain areas you had to do one thing or the other. Certain areas you had to go in stealth. Certain areas you had to go in guns blazing. It does not matter. You can just go in guns blazing in any area you want and the same things will happen. As you all know, I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, and Mass Effect is a role-playing game. You make your own decisions, you make your own character. Depending on the decisions you make throughout the game, the world will start to change. Characters' perceptions of you will start to be different. Well, CD Projekt Red, who made CyberJUNK 2077, also made The Witcher. Now, I never played Witcher 1 and 2, and I only played Witcher 3, which won Game of the Year a couple years ago. I personally don't agree with that. I think The Witcher 3 is fine. I think it's okay. I think it's a decent game. I don't think it is by far Game of the Year and an amazing game. I don't think it is. And also, if I want to play a medieval times role-playing game, I'm going to play Dragon Age over Witcher any day. Now, I'm sure all of the Witcher bandwagoners out there, if any one of them heard me, I would be getting blasted right now. But I'm sorry, it's true. I think Dragon Age is a much better medieval times player than Witcher is. Now, for any of you who don't know what The Witcher is, on Netflix there is a Witcher TV show who stars Henry Cavill. I love Henry Cavill, but even still, it was not enough for me to watch that show. I just have no interest in that world. Now, I give it to CD Projekt Red because they are a company who really cares about their fans. They really care about what people think. And that's, I think, a huge reason why the Witcher games were so successful for them. You know, not a company like EA who wants to hide and trick and sneak in microtransactions there, pay to plays. They're not dirty like EA is or like Activision is, you know? So they actually care about their fans. They care about, they love gaming. They love the world of games. And you know, once you buy a product, you have purchased that product. You should not have to buy a product then to buy everything inside the game afterwards. It's even unfortunate to see that CD Projekt Red is even getting sued by certain companies because of how ill-prepared they were for this game. They delayed this game so many times because it just was not ready. The game was not ready to come out. It still needed more polishing. So when they delayed it to December of 2020, people were mad because I believe the game was supposed to come out November. They then again delayed it another month, which isn't the biggest of deals. People were mad because it's been delayed so often, but at the same time, there were some people who are like, you know, you're taking an extra month to polish, that's fine. Well, it really looks like after all of these delays, after 8 years of production, and after that one extra month of production, it really did nothing for them. The PS4 version and the Xbox One version plays so badly that the graphics apparently look like you're playing off of a PS2 or the first Xbox. The game is nearly unplayable. The glitches are awful. Now I have a PS5, so I'm playing the PS4 version on a 5 and it does play better, it does run smoother, and it does look better, of course. But that's not to say it doesn't have its issues. I couldn't play the game for an hour without the application closing on me. And every single time the application closed on me, it said accept report and send to the developers or to Sony so they can see the issues with the game. Does that matter? No, because the game has not had a patch since it came out, and it's been about a month now. How do you not patch a game that's this big, a AAA game, and is this buggy? You've had people waiting for almost 10 years for this piece of garbage, and you can't even properly fix your game to make it run smoothly. I hear the same issues on PC. It looks better, it runs better, but it still has its bugs. I can't tell you how many times, because the game has a driving feature like Grand Theft Auto, and funny enough, a game that should be having better mechanics than a game like Grand Theft Auto 5, which came out in 2013, it doesn't. The driving mechanics are garbage. I can't tell you how many times I've called in my car, and as I'm going in my car just shoots up in the sky and goes across the map. I can't tell you how many times I've called in my car and my car just rolls up right beside me. No doors, no hood, no trunk, smoke's coming from the engine. The game is so glitchy. I've been walking along the street of Night City and all of a sudden my guy just stops walking and he's just sitting there. You can't move him, you can't jump, you can't crouch, you can't even kill yourself and restart from a previous checkpoint. That's how buggy this game is. It was so bad on last gen consoles, they had to remove it from stores. They had to take it off the online stores because it's unplayable. Now, my first couple hours of playing the game, I really saw the potential, and I still do see the potential in CyberJUNK. I don't think, no matter how they end up turning out the game in future patches and downloads and DLCs, whatever they choose to do, I don't think it will ever be an 8 or a 9 or a 10 out of 10 game. It's just not there because there are things sewed into this game that are not patchable. They're not fixable. There are mechanics in this game that you can't fix now that it is part of the base game without completely remaking pieces. As I said, being an entire RPG fan, being a Mass Effect fan, I never got to this point. I went off on a tangent, but my point is I love the dialogue options. As I said, the world changes around you, the people change around you. You can make relationships with certain people. You can even get people to hate you. There's so many options with dialogue in RPG games. And as I was playing this game, I started realizing halfway through the game that none of my dialogue options matter. None of it gets me anywhere. It was pointless. The only dialogue options that actually matter at the end of the day was the last decision. whatever dialogue options you choose in the last mission is what actually matters. Nothing you've done from the beginning of the game to the end of the game even matter. They don't change the world you're in. They don't change the perception of people towards you. Nothing changes. The city miraculously might not look different. I'm not saying there's a mission like this, but let's just say there's a mission where you gotta go inside a building and defuse a bomb. You defuse the bomb, you save the building. For the rest of the game, the building's there. You go in, you let the bomb explode the building. For the rest of the game, that building is gone. There's nothing even like that. There's no decisions or consequences to your actions. And the game just feels so stale. It almost feels like there's no replayability because the only choices that differ are your end choices. So I have to play an entire game from beginning to end as a different character just to choose one big choice that changes the game, which is at the end of the game. I'm not gonna sit through how many hours and do that all over again. The replayability is just not there, and that is why we love role-playing games. I can play Mass Effect so many times over and over and over and over because there's always one decision I haven't made that will change the outlook of the game. And CyberJUNK, unfortunately, does not do that. I don't think I've ever played a game this big that from the beginning of the game, I sat here and said, okay, it is getting dumped on a lot of sites, a lot of people, a lot of reviewers, but at the same time, there's still something there. And I don't think I've ever gone into such a controversial game thinking like, okay, it's not perfect. It's about a 7 out of 10. Then as the hours went on, I slowly went from 7 out of 10 to, okay, yeah, 6 out of 10. Okay, 5 out of 10. Okay, 4 out of 10. And I almost want to say 3. I might even actually choose to say 3 sometime in the future, but for now, I'm going to say 4. I think that is my final review. 4 out of 10 is my review of this game. The game is boring. It's got no stock in it. All the loot is the exact same. You find the same guns over and over and over. The crafting system is completely obsolete, and that's why I never even mentioned it, because there's no point in even talking about it. The upgrade system is so wild, and I will actually say that is maybe one of the better things about the game, is the fact that you can become an actual cybernetic human if you upgrade yourself enough. You can become the perfect cybernetic human. The problem is there is by far at least 500 upgrades in this game, and the game isn't long enough, and you don't level yourself up enough to even get 100 of those upgrades in one playthrough. The upgrade system is pointless. The idea of the upgrade system is fine, but how they executed it in CyberJUNK is just, it wasn't well thought out and it wasn't well prepared. I would have gone into detail about what the story of this game is, but I don't even really feel like there is a point, because none of your decisions change the story. Basically, the main thing is your character slips a chip inside of his head that has the construct of a guy named Johnny Silverhand, which is Keanu Reeves' character. And every single waking day of your main character's life, his psyche, his profile is starting to deteriorate because Johnny Silverhand is taking over his brain. And you have to find the impossible way of removing Johnny from your head while keeping your brain and your life intact all at the same time. I would have gone into more detail about it, but the dialogue options do not differ the story. Even the romance options. You have 2 romance options for both male and female. If you're a male, you can only have 1 straight romance and 1 gay romance. If you're a female, you can only have 1 gay romance and 1 straight romance. And it's with the same characters. There's no option. There's nothing there that keeps the game fresh. There's nothing about this game that makes me say I have to go replay it because there's so much option, because there's not. Even the side missions are all the same. Go save this person. Go steal this information. Go do this. Go steal this car. Go save my contact. It's boring. So, considering all the negative things I've said about the game, if you are still considering it yourself, please don't get it. Don't waste your money buying this game. If worst comes to worst, wait till this game maybe hits 20 bucks sometime within the next year or so, and then buy it then and play it for yourself and see what you think. But don't buy it now because it's not worth it. I congratulate them on having an 8-year idea, but they couldn't execute it properly. I congratulate them on how big they made the city. And it's not just a city, there's country parts to the world map in general. And the map is huge, but it's not worth exploring. It's not that fun. There's not much you can do. I'm gonna stand my ground on a 4 out of 10 rating for CyberJUNK 2077. Don't play it, at least not right now.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.